I'm back. Happy New Year. Thought I Refuse podcast was gone, but we're still here and alive. Been thinking about this Dank Demoss situation with the Lyft discrimination thing up in Detroit. You ain't gonna like what I got to say. And that's cool with me. All right, you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast. This is Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. Listen, I thought if I got to MLK's birthday, I would be good. Like, it would be all right. Last time y'all heard from me, I talked about Luigi. Where is Luigi? Ain't heard from him since. They realized we stopped caring about him, so they moved him to another castle. Then y'all got Rump back in office, and y'all are setting yourselves ablaze over these EOs and these deportations of y'all friends and neighbors and loved ones by a person you voted for. If FAFO was a collective. But I'm not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about old girl up in Detroit, a local Detroit rapper that goes by the name Dank Demoss, who is pursuing a discrimination lawsuit against Lyft over an interaction that she recorded with a Lyft driver. Now, I could have the name of the company wrong, Lyft or Uber, but that's not the point. I just got off of a TikTok live where people are literally turning this whole situation into a town hall, and the attraction to the TikTok live was discrimination or a grab money situation. People went in this whole thing about weight. People were coming at the guy's ride, all this other stuff. Now, I saw the clip. Didn't have to see the whole thing. I'm gonna break it down, right? First things first, since old girl was the one that recorded and thought we were going to be on her side, I'll start with her first. Wait aside. In the interaction that I saw between her and the driver, I heard him say no. Didn't give a specific reason, didn't make it about her weight or her appearance. He said no and drove off. I'm sure some of y'all in the comment section will correct me. That's fine. Say what you want. Fast forward, I don't know how long since that incident to now. She's on TV. She's got several mics in front of her. She's in the law office with the people. And it said that she is pursuing, like I said, discrimination thing against Lyft. So here's what I do know. When y'all sign, a person like her, a person in her position, when y'all sign up for these Lyft and Uber situations, there is a very lengthy thing that is up to your leisure to read. It's something akin to an iTunes agreement, akin to a lease, a contract that, again, is your option to read. You can either accept or decline or disagree, you accept that is you agreeing to everything in the contract, right? And you have the app on your phone and you can use it as you see fit. I've been saying probably for the entire existence of my podcast that y'all need to start reading stuff, all that stuff. Y'all need to start reading the fine print. Y'all need to start reading front to back the leases that y'all sign, any contract that you come across that's before you, whether it's in an app, whether it's in a building, whatever, you need to read that. Secondly, at the end of the day, Lyft, Uber, any app, anything that has an LLC attached to it has things written in those contracts and those agreements that protects them, right? So, in my opinion, this lady does not have a lawsuit, discrimination or otherwise, because there are clauses and protections in Lyft and Uber's situation that, that hit you in the face before you log in, register, what have you, that protects them. Secondly, again, the focus right now is the lady. You taking out your phone, recording this person, and this is a reoccurring theme I've seen for a lot of years, especially during the pandemic. Y'all get out here, get into these, you want to create a situation as soon as you record. You're baiting this man into giving you a reason as to why he said no. He didn't give you the reason why. So anybody, when it comes to discrimination especially, the burden of proof is on the plaintiff, which is this particular young lady, right? That's not it in this case. Now, she may get some money out of this because Lyft, like I know McDonald's has a tendency to do when they are hit with stuff, essentially settle with folks because it's bad for business to keep their name in your mouth. And we really want y'all just to go away. McDonald's got the money, Lyft and Uber got the money. They can probably shave off a couple shekels off of their investment portfolio to pay this local Detroit rapper. A detail that's small, but I feel like matters in this case. And that's just me being petty. So I don't think she has a case. I, in my opinion, think she's going to get laughed out of the courtroom. Unfortunately, also, by her recording this interaction, which shows the driver's face, shows his car, it ultimately led to him getting fired. And I'll get to the at-will clause or whatever. Secondly, he's endured a lot of targeted harassment, people on social media coming at his ride and the condition and everything. When you play a role in somebody losing their job, thus opening like this big Pandora's box of a lot of things, he could sue her for emotional distress, lost wages, so on and so forth. It's definitely at a civil level. Lyft and Uber and these ride-sharing apps also have in their contract agreements with drivers, while yes, you are self-employed as a rideshare driver, you are essentially at the mercy of these corporations, Lyft and Uber, to where they can fire you for any reason. A lot of people in the TikTok town hall over this whole thing were of the mindset that it had to be something else. It had to be another reason why Lyft fired the driver that had nothing to do with this interaction with this lady or this discrimination lawsuit or whatever. It could have been because his car was nasty and it was old and all this other stuff. None of which had anything to do with the topic. And this is where people's prejudice starts to show. Because none of that was part of the back and forth. If you want a lot of us not to judge based on the appearance of this lady, you have to apply that same concept on the appearance of this guy's car, the condition, or whatever. And it boggles my mind. It's like, you want us to show a lot of empathy towards this lady, yet here you are bashing this man that's just out here trying to make a living. Yeah, his car may not be the latest 2023, 2024 car, but he, like a lot of these Lyft and ride-sharing self-employed entrepreneurs and drivers, just out here trying to make some money. And a lot of the conversation, it was clear that the emotions were taking the front seat. Oh, I would have given her a ride had it been me, and yada, 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 yada. It wasn't until she said she was like a legal writer or something, like working in a law office and stuff, actually broke it down that, the car itself, some of y'all need to start reading y'all manuals and not waiting until there's smoke coming through the vents. When you read your manual to your car and it tells you, I want to say the net weight of the car, that's not the same as the max capacity or max limit of the car. For example, if the net weight of the car is 850 pounds, that does not mean a person over 800 pounds can get in the car without issue, or it not lead to issues with the car. As a person that has ride shared and done Lyft and Uber for about 4 years, up until late 2019, there is a lot that goes into the entire experience. And when it comes to that car, there's a lot of liability on the driver himself or herself. Lyft and Uber, they do not cover the wear and tear while you're self-employed under Lyft and Uber. They do not reimburse you for getting a tire plugged. They do not reimburse you anything that happens during the course of however many hours you're out there doing Lyft and Uber. Whether you get a nail in your tire, whether a rock gets into your engine and your engine's fucked up, if your transmission fluid starts to leak out and your car starts to lag, your car blow up, even though you're doing work hours for them, none of that's reimbursable. And you're essentially ass out as far as Lyft and Uber is concerned. And might I add again that Lyft and Uber can fire you for any reason. And there is no recourse for the driver. it there, and for those of us on the outside looking in, there is no way for us to determine exactly the reason why Lyft or Uber fired this man, because we don't work for Lyft. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So, like I said, they're going to laugh this out the courtroom if it even makes it to the bottom steps. Because all they got to do really is play that video that you recorded on your phone, miss, that shows that you clearly are trying to prod this man into a moment that never came. And you, as the user of the app, knows what kind of car is coming. You have an image of the car. And the driver, it's in the driver's hands whether or not he'll accept you. And there's a lot of, beyond the obvious, that a lot of weight and pressure on a car means a lot of pressure on the engine to cool down the car. It's under more strenuous pressure to operate the car. A lot of wear and tear on the brakes, the axles, the tires, the undercarriage of the car being closer to the road. And that's not even me trying to be funny. Like, you have to look at a lot of realities that goes beyond, well, he rejected me because I was fat. And like I said earlier, they're not going to reimburse him for any of the short range or the long term wear and tear of his vehicle. This is coming from a former rideshare driver. It's definitely leaning towards money grab, because she, in the video, is trying to make a case. And then you're on social media not that long after, raising more, furthering the suspicion as to the reasoning to what we're seeing right now. While she may be a dope-ass rapper, as my co-host on Usual Suspects podcast, Abstract, has told me, there's something that has to be said when, and they don't tell you this down at the barbershop, down at the hair salon, down to wherever you work, any call center or whatever, that not only is it on you to prove what you're alleging, what you're complaining, a corporation, I'll just say for the sake of an argument, like any LLC, a big time corporation like Lyft and Uber, their defense team is going to pull a lot of your shit into the courtroom. It is not uncommon for any kind of court case, civil, criminal, that during cross-examination, they are going to pull a lot of your personal stuff into the courtroom because they want to poke holes in your credibility and what exactly inspires you to pursue this discrimination lawsuit. And then on top of that, you have to think, what kind of precedents would this set if this actually goes all the way through the court system and it's a year or two court case and this lady actually wins? Which is different than settling. Because settling, while it may be a win, it doesn't mean you were legally in the right. They just want you to shut the fuck up and go away. Whereas if you can last that long financially, because, lawyers' fees and shit like that, let's say you do win. What kind of precedence would that set for, like, any kind of situation that involves a person that is overweight, and airplane seats, roller coaster rides, um, knowing full damn well that, let's say the other party lets you on the ride, or the other party lets you get on the plane, and it's putting other people at risk safety wise. It opens up a big bag of worms of liability and civil lawsuits from other people because you felt entitled, thus opening the bag for a lot of lawsuits to come your way. You know, we aren't that far removed from the chicken nugget situation. Like at first, and I talked about this on the podcast, where the lady sued McDonald's because the chicken nugget burned her son's leg at the drive-thru. They settled with her. She didn't win. I mean, I'm sure for her ego's sake, she won, but they paid her to go away. Um, but people will try. People will definitely try to push something. Discrimination is very, very hard to prove. Like I said, very, very hard to prove. Um, because he didn't even allude that it was about your weight. But, some awareness will do you some good. And anybody can get up on an IG or TikTok live or Twitter and say, well, I'm her friend and she's already lost 100 pounds and she has medical conditions and stuff like that. Okay. Knowing all of this, a person that is driving a four-door Camry, Honda Civic, like a non-SUV kind of situation, is not going to put themselves at risk in modern day traffic. Damn having to push the chairs all the way up, thus making the driver uncomfortable because his clavicle is literally on the steering wheel. It's just not going to work. Physically, it's not going to work. You have to have a seatbelt on. But God forbid you get in the car and you get into an accident. Both of y'all are fucked up. But of course, I think the attention grabbing aspect is what drives people more. Could be me. Than any common sense, critical thinking, definitely a high level sense of entitlement. Because no matter how you cut this would have been a mess. And it could have been very, very worse on him. Lyft definitely is probably going to settle with this lady if it makes it to like the 6-month mark and they actually just exercise in all aspects of this. They're gonna settle. Or they definitely got the money to push this all the way through and see this all the way through. And then what? Now, they already fired the man. They refunded you the money. Yet, you still pushed it to this part. When you actually think about it, was it even about catching a lift? Because you got to remember, TikTok and IG and stuff, a lot of this stuff is starting to come off like everything is a skit. I'm just tired, man. Just very, very tired. Another reason why I'm leaning more towards this as a money grab. Like the business was already done for the day. You could have went on about your life and you knew what you were getting before it arrived. Now the driver, being a former ride shift Lyft driver myself, actually is the one with the most power. And he definitely made the right decision because civilly, I know that's not a word, but it's one today. Had he gone through with it, the liability would have been on him. And Lyft isn't going to have your back through that. It would have been like, I don't know her. Lyft driver who? With Dank Demoss who? In the back of what? Oh, we don't know him. He made the right decision. But for him to receive the pushback over that decision is jacked up. Because rejecting somebody in the app, you can do that as a driver. And there may be some impact to your rating, but it's really not that big of a deal. In the times I've done Lyft and Uber in Baltimore, I've had white women reject me as soon as I pulled up. I've had women do a full walk around my truck. I've had women look at my license plate, make sure it matches. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a small percentage of me in those situations that's like, what makes you think I would leave my house to come bother you? But there's nothing you can do about people's perception and people's judgments and people's view of the world. But it's clear in this situation, she was looking for something. And unfortunately, it's going to come back to bite her in the ass. I don't know what, if anything, the guy's going to do. But it's like this whole striving to get somebody canceled to lose their job and stuff is so 2018. And there is definitely a huge amount of accountability and awareness that this young lady needs to take part in. Because she was sitting there confidently at the conference room table in the law office. And it's like, not everything is discrimination. Like, you're going to get rejected by a lot of drivers. Like I said, I've been rejected as a driver. I don't know if I've been rejected as a passenger, though. But I have my own car. But yeah, I've been rejected as a driver. Could be the way you look. It could be the way you said something. It could be the way that you looked at somebody. But at the end of the day, as the driver, I actually would have the most power. Like, I can literally end a ride at a red light because I didn't like the way you tone. Like, if there's one thing people tend to forget, when you get into somebody else's car, that's still their car. Yeah, my rating may go down, but passengers also have a rating. And should she get, should she ever make it to the stand, this girl, they most likely will pull that in to the courtroom. Comments, ratings, feedback about her. They'll do anything. They'll do anything. And this shit will come and go. And then what? But yeah, Lyft and Uber, any of these apps that you use to be employed by, don't need a reason to fire you. If it does get back that his firing was a result of this interaction, he could possibly sue her for lost wages and emotional stress, which is slightly easier to prove, especially when you factor in the social media aspect. Shit, there were people on TikTok Live earlier today roasting him about his car and was alluding to the reason he got fired was because of his hoopty. Well, we like to see what you were driving. Man can't even come out here and make some money because you're roasting him on his car. And unfortunately, the more people talk in these informal town halls, you know, they were making it about them and their struggles with their weight and, you know, I got asthma and I'm on Ozempic and this dude's car ain't shit and my mother this and my asthma that and my mother cooked for me and I lost a lot of weight. Good for you. Good for you. But she's gonna have to prove that it happened. She has the burden of proof is on her, and really all Lyft has to do is pull up that very document or writing they have that you have the option to read and point out a lot of what's in it. And that could be the end of the case. And then what? Because you knew what size car was coming. You knew what it looked like. You know what size you are. The car showed up because, you know, you accepted it. And the driver accepted it. You were going for a moment. The man got fired. You got your money back. And you're still trying to take Lyft to court? Yeah, definitely a money grab, like I said. So, we're not even through January yet. Like, literally days away from Black History Month. And this kind of shit happened. I don't know how y'all do it. You know, last year I started thinking to myself, when I see shit like this, I'm like, I can't believe that's the sperm that made it to the egg. But I've been in a dark comedy space for a while. Like there are things just too obvious to ignore. And you know it. And when you're out here trying to get somebody else to say it, it's like, come on, girl. Like, something's got to give. People in the comment section were funny when the friend was on the TikTok live talking about, oh, she has medical conditions and she lost 100 pounds and stuff like that. So the comment section was like, how come you weren't giving her rides? Where were you at? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, she ain't nobody's friend. She is not, she don't know that person. She don't know that girl. You were a viewer just like the rest of us when she was on that rap reality show. You know, Abstract said the girl's got talent. I'm like, okay. Like to see her rap herself out of this. Just saying. But it's just, this is the mess. Right off of the heels of the inauguration, right off the heels of the EOs, right off of the heels of a lot of y'all asses are RTW if you telework. Still just January. So this is Mr. Foxy I Refuse podcast. Getting to the I Refuse podcast, I'm just fascinated and just kind of beside myself over this Dank Demoss situation. Getting to the I Refuse podcast, season 6. We just dropped episode 15, the first episode of 2025. Into the podcast I have with Abstract, Usual Suspects. I'm going to get with her to talk about this, and that'll be dropping soon. And of course, get into the YouTube channel, which is where you are right now. I will catch you guys later. It's been real. I promise it won't take me a month. I'm still alive and active. I Refuse podcast ain't going nowhere. And keep it locked. Get those follows and subscriptions up. Show the love to Black content creators that don't wear crazy outfits and don't do dumb shit. I'm just on this thing talking like it's just you and me. And that's how I like it. Hope you do too. Anyway, catch you later. Peace. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse podcast.